Hey, what's going on, guys? So you've seen the Crossbone Gundam X2 Verka Master Grade kit review. Now get ready for the Master Grade Crossbone Gundam X2 Custom Verka. So this is the Crossbone X2 Kai, mostly the same kit, but there is going to be some key differences, including, and probably most importantly, with the weaponry, but more than that, there is actually some more differences. The boxes, though, just because I happen to have it right here, I can show you guys both at the same time. I wouldn't blame you if you got the two of these confused just at a glance, but they are going to be different. So if you guys are also looking forward to seeing a review of the Master Grade Crossbone X3, that's going to be coming up. But for now, let's go ahead and check out the X2 Kai. All right, so of course, just like we saw with the Crossbone X2 and every other version of the premium Bandai Crossbone, we do have the luxury of the full color Verka box art here, which is amazing. If you saw these two boxes on the shelf, you would have a little bit of a hard time differentiating them, but you can actually see the difference of the parts there on the backpack are slightly different, and then you can see the custom word there in the background. Most of the mobile suit's going to be exactly the same between the X2 and the X2 Kai. Another notable difference is just going to be the weapon, which you can see over there. But really awesome box art here as usual, with all the markings and everything there on the Gundam, and just some beautiful illustration work there by Kotoki-san. On the ends of the box, we just got the same thing there. So we go around here over to this side. We've got some more about Crossbone Gundam X2 Custom, upgraded by the Jupiter Empire, now offered in MG Verka. We've got some detail images of that, also showing off some of those decals there on some of those parts. You can see the MSRP on this one for 4,400 yen, which I think is exactly the same price as what the X2 was as well. Over here on the other side, we've got front and back images of the fully built, painted, and a decaled kit there. Looking really good. We got some more stats, specifications, and armaments over here. Comes with a lot of stuff there, of course. And let's go ahead and pop it open so we can check out said stuff. Right off the bat there, of course, we do have some waterslide decals. This waterslide decal sheet looking very similar to what we saw with the X2, and that would make sense, but taking a look at this, almost entirely, like most of this whole section here, until you get to like the bottom couple rows, looks almost exactly the same, because you have like these logos right there in full color. Most everything else is in white, but a bunch of really nice Kotoki style decals here to put on the kit. And of course, then we do also have the instruction manual here. So Crossbone Gundam X2 Custom Verka Assignment Jupiter Empire. We've got a nice close-up image there of the Gundam built and painted. The backside, some credits there. On the front inside page, unfortunately, we just only have the parts list, so we don't have that big full information page like we saw with the X2. So the manual is a little bit disappointing for this version, as it's not like the full Verka style manual. It is a P-Bandai kit at the end of the day, so it's not too surprising, but it was nice to have that with the X2. We'll have to see if the X3 has it. But here on the center pages, I guess we have kind of a lot of that. I felt like it was a lot more information with the X2, but here we do have some more about the kit and the different weapons and parts and everything here. You have the color chart down there at the bottom, and over here on this side we have the complete diagram, which shows you where all of the waterslide decals are going to go everywhere around on the kit there, like that. But anyway, as far as other information here in the manual, I think that's going to be just kind of about it. Everything else is just about the just construction of the kit there, to the weapons and how to open up the face and these parts there on the head, the cockpit and everything. So that's kind of about it. But of course, we do also have some foil stickers in here for the eyes, cameras, and then a bunch of little vent details and yellow vernier bits and things like that. So for some yellow accents on there. And then with this, we are going to have the same beam shield effect part here with a really nice looking effect to that, including that pink gradient there on that. Looks pretty good. And then once again, we've got these black wires we can use. With the X2, this was one long wire that you had to cut in half. Now it's just two separate wires. You don't have to actually cut these in half. They're 20 centimeters in length. You could, of course, cut that down to a shorter length if you want. We'll see how these work in the review. And then no polycaps with this kit, so we're right into the runners here with the A runner, having some clear parts down here, yellow-orange over here on this side, clear pink up there for some beam effects, and then this dark navy blue for the bulk of our armor colored parts. Runner B has some more of that dark navy blue armor on here, but then runner C is switching it up to that light lavender color that is a really nice accent color for these kits. Runners D and E are going to be a couple of larger runners with some more armor pieces on there. Runner D is mostly for the legs, runner E is for the arms and some weapons parts on there as well. And then runners F, G, H, and I are going to be a bunch of gray inner frame parts here. Runner F we have two of there. Runner G we have one of for some hand parts, parts for around the waist section. Runner H here, some parts there more for around the waist and some other parts of the frame, as you can see. And then runner I here, some more frame parts and also some weapons bits on here as well. Should also not forget about runner J here for a couple of frame parts there for in the arms on this little bitty runner. Also not entirely sure, and I've got to check, but I think right there next to the J, you can see there's these two little bits. I think those are actually little detail parts that you can slice off the runner and use for like the Vulcans on the head or something maybe. I'm not sure, but I'm gonna check. I'm gonna look into that. Also, just to skip ahead here for a moment to runner P, we have some more beam effect parts. These big ones, again, we're not gonna be using for this kit, but it's kind of interesting here. If you look at the runner label, it says MG1100 Crossbone Gundam, and then there was more on there. You can say where they just kind of omitted that part from the runner label here for this. Is kind of funny. All right, then on to our new parts that weren't from the original Master Grade Crossbone Gundam. Here on runner K, we have some of the parts for the lance weapon that we saw with the Crossbone X2. Here in navy blue. Runner L here, exactly like we saw with the X2, has our pilot figure, both the standing one and the one that goes in the cockpit of the core fighter, a couple little white bits for the shoulders, and the little white skull part there for the head crest. And then our new parts, particularly for this variation, we've got runner Q1 there with some gray, yellow, dark navy blue, and light lavender parts there. This is going to be mostly new parts for the head and backpack. And then we've got 3 of runner Q2, which is this section over there for the backpack, giving us 4 of those bits for the 4 X-shaped parts of the backpack. And finally, runner R here in gray is going to be our new weapons parts here as well. Those look really good. That's going to do it for the runners. Let's go ahead and check out the kit. Okay guys, here is the kit all built up. Basically just has the new parts there for the backpack, one new part there for the head, and then the new weapon, which we'll see here in just a moment. So not really a whole lot different. And so for the review part of this video, we're just sort of going to really focus in on just kind of what's new about the X2 Custom compared to the X2. If you guys want to see a much more detailed full review of the X2, you can check out my review previously on that kit. Just that'll talk more about the articulation and the gimmicks and stuff like that. I'm just kind of gonna not really focus on too much in this video, but we do once again have a whole bunch of accessories, so let's take a quick look through those. And one cool thing to point out, as you guys can see there, even with the larger backpack, even in the Crossbone X1 and X2, the X2 Kai can still stand on its own, even with being quite back heavy there. So that's pretty awesome. We'll go ahead and run through the non-new accessories here first. We've got our action base adapter here, which will plug up underneath the backpack. This can also plug onto just the core fighter alone if you want to have just the core fighter flying along. And once again, the same 1/100 scale standing pilot figure here as well. For around here on the back skirts, you have the option of just a set of back skirts here, which have no gimmick to them. It's just kind of nothing special. But the ones that I've got on here at the moment, if we can move that out of the way, these are the ones that have the handle, which will pop out of there, which you can use with the whip accessories. So for this, you're just going to plug one end of the wire into the handle there like that. And this does have a little hole there for plugging into the tab inside the hand for a good strong connection there. And then onto the other end of the wire, you plug this little hook drill kind of little part there like that. And that looks pretty cool. So we've got 2 of those, 2 wires, and then 2 handles, and then 2 end bits that you can use both at the same time if you want. Then while we're here on the back of the leg, you'll remember we have 2 of these knife blades. Now this can either be plugged into the bottom of the foot and just kind of sticking out of there like that. Alternatively, you can pull out the handle from the back of the leg here, and we can attach the blade into there like that. And then we've got 2 of these handheld daggers you can also use. For around on the front skirts, once again, these can detach, and we can use this straight chain accessory. We've got 2 of those. This will plug in there in place of the front skirt. And when we fold out these bits on the front of the skirt, it makes our anchor claw there like that, which we can attach onto the end of this chain part there. And that will be shooting out of the front of the skirt armor there like that. Well, it is the front skirt armor shooting out from the Gundam like so. Pretty cool. All right, and then once again, this part here on the back of the arm, you don't necessarily have to fold it back, and we'll talk about that here just a second, but fold it up, I should say, fold it to the front. We can fold that around to the front and then plug in our beam brand effects. We've got 2 of these, so you can use on the left and the right side if you want, sort of a punching beam effect there. Pretty awesome. And then again, our beam shield as well is going to plug into here. Now this is what I was saying, you could plug the beam shield onto like the back of the arm using our connection pieces here. You've got these bits folded on, and I mean, you can just plug the shield onto the arm without having this moved around to the front of the arm, I should say, front of the hand. So anyway, once again, that just works like that. Pretty awesome, and I think it's definitely much more useful to have here out in front of the hand like that. On the back of the arm, it's going to be kind of hard and kind of getting in the way because it is quite a large effect part there like that. Moving on then to some handheld weaponry, we've of course got our just regular beam sabers. We've got our clear pink beam saber effect parts for that. These are stored up here in the top of the torso, actually kind of like part of the core fighter. But you can pop that out of there like that, the handle. And this one as well does have a little hole for plugging into the tab on the inside of the hand. Our beam effect part will just fit into there like so. And we've got just our standard beam sabers anyway, that you can use. If you want to keep it a little bit more normal, I don't want to say boring because beam sabers are cool, but why use that when you can use this big beam cutlass here? So we've got this big, huge beam effect once again here for this one. And the handle going to be a little bit underwhelming, being just all in that dark blue with a little bit of gray. This does have a hard point on here as well for plugging onto the side skirt for storage when not in use, but pretty awesome beam sword there. And then we have the pistol here as well. This one also has a hard point on it for plugging onto the other side skirt for when not in use. There is a clear part in there for the camera, but I went ahead and did put the red sticker on there just to cover that up, as it's kind of said in the manual. And again, you do have a hole in the handle for this one as well for tabbing into the hand. So all the weapons you should be able to hold without too much issue. And then we can of course attach these two together by kind of transforming the cutlass and pistol and attaching these together to form our beam rifle, which is a pretty awesome beam rifle design there. I like it a lot. But okay, then at long last, that brings us to our new accessories specifically for this version of the kit. We're gonna start off here on the face. You'll notice on the top face part right there, there is no vents, which we typically have. You do have that part if you want to choose to use that one that has the little vent slits at the front, kind of normal. But this one is not supposed to have that. So as you can see, the face does look a little bit different. And once again, if you want to open that up, you can still do that. This will open up. Kind of wish that we had like a gold sticker to put in there for the mouth. I mean, obviously painting it gold would be the best way to go about it, but a sticker wouldn't have been bad. That said, I guess we didn't get any gold stickers at all. The only stickers we have are yellow ones and red ones for some of the cameras and the eyes and stuff, but cool effect of that open mouth there. And then of course our weapon, so this can be kind of transformed. So this is in the stored state like this. It has the main handle over here on this side, and again you can see the hand will be able to tab into the handle. So hopefully it should be able to hold it up pretty well. Actually with the X2, the custom weapon for that, the lance, it did have a little bit of trouble holding up the lance just because it didn't actually connect onto the arm very well. But this one, hopefully should be able to work pretty well. We have a secondary handle over here on this side, which will fold out, which we can take advantage of as well. And so to transform this, really easy. This barrel just folds forward. This part will kind of move up. There's kind of a little lock that moves up and down. So this one will drop down like that. I guess it's up when it's transformed. And then when you go into the firing mode, this will drop down like that. And this part here at the back will lift up like that. And you can just pop the secondary handle there out like that. Pretty much that's about it. Kind of a very simple rudimentary transformation there for that. Interestingly, no sticker there for what I'm assuming is a camera here on the top of this rifle, but it's going to be about 21.5 centimeters in total length, which is pretty tall, much taller than the Gundam itself, with this Gundam being of a little bit shorter stature. A 1/100 scale RX-78-2, for example, would come out to be about 18 centimeters in height. This one is coming up to about 16, maybe just over 16 centimeters in height. So it's definitely going to be slightly shorter than your standard 1/100 scale Gundam. And so then, of course, our only other new parts are just going to be here on the backpack. So these kind of the X parts where it gets the Crossbone name. These are a little bit longer and have more thrusters. So the original ones and on the X2 only have these big ones on the back side. These ones also have two on the top, and these longer effect parts out here. We have these yellow vents. Those are just stickers. Unfortunately, kind of would have been cool to have some yellow parts there for those, but that's 4 stickers on each one of these parts there. unfortunately means a lot of stickers, but they look okay once you go ahead and put those on. Alternatively, if you wanted to go ahead and paint those, probably going to be the best way to go about it. Everything else though is, again, yeah, just going to be the same. We have some really nice articulation with this kit. So overall, fairly solid. You do have a couple of spots where I mentioned about in the review of the X2 that it does feel like a little bit weak. It's a little bit of a combination of like the design and the size. With it being slightly smaller, it's going to be a little bit more fragile in certain spots, although we've seen like really tiny kits, for example, like the real grade version of the Crossbone, which is much smaller, and that one manages to hold up perfectly fine. So I don't necessarily think it's the size that is the issue. I think it's just the design and the fact that it's a bit of an older kit, so it's not quite as solid as you might like, but you have to remember this kit is more than a decade old at this point. Overall though, as you can see with this one, once again, a really cool kit, just in the fact that you have so much stuff included with this. So between the two, if you didn't have either the X2 or the X2 Kai and you're wondering which one I would recommend for you guys, honestly, I'm not sure. I think I kind of prefer the X2 Custom here, the X2 Kai. Basically, the main difference is just going to be those backpack parts. These ones are kind of a little bit more custom looking compared to the X1. And of course, that massive beam rifle is super cool as well. So, I mean, both versions are really cool, the X2 and the X2 Kai here. The lance with the X2 is certainly a cool weapon as well. With both of these, you get plenty of weapons to choose from. It's just kind of like what's the main kind of custom weapon that makes that version of the kit different from the others. I guess with the X2, you did also have the cloth, the cloak, which was kind of okay, as we saw in that review. I mean, I'm not particularly missing it with this version of the kit. It's not something that I think I would ever really use for actually displaying the kit, but I mean, it is an added accessory that this one doesn't have, so it's something to consider if that's something that you want. But overall, even I think without that, I'd still just kind of prefer this version of the kit. But let me know your guys' thoughts down in the comment section below. What's your favorite version? I do still have the X3 that we're going to be taking a look at. So, wow, hard to believe. I think I've reviewed quite a few different versions of the Crossbone. I actually don't know if I've ever reviewed any version of the Crossbone X1, even though I have built that kit. I think I've built both the Verka and the full cloth non-Verka kits, but I think those were both back before I was doing anything on YouTube. So maybe I don't have reviews of the X1 here on the channel. But anyway, you can check out also my review of the XO. It's a pretty cool kit, the silver version. But if you've already seen that and you're all up to date, then just stick around, stay tuned for the X3 review coming out in the near future. It won't be the next video, but it will be coming out pretty soon. Stay tuned for that. Make sure that you're subscribed so you don't miss that one. If you guys want to check out some more gunplay, you can check out the link in the video description to USA Gundam Store. Got lots of great stuff there for you guys. Just no P-Bandai kits like this, unfortunately, but lots of other great gunpla there. And as always, guys, if you wouldn't mind leaving a like while you're here, I really appreciate your support. Thank you so much. Until next time, hope you guys are all having a great day. See y'all later. Bye-bye.